run for my money. There is nobody, no one that run me. So give me a run for my money. Sipping bubbly, feeling lovely, living lovely. Just love.
I'm Yvonne Cooper with a breaking ABC 24 News update out of Canton, Mississippi. We have just learned that Sheldon Timothy Harrington Jr. has accepted a plea. He has pleaded guilty to the lesser charge of second-degree murder and tampering in connection to the death of Ole Miss student Jimmy J. Lee. Many of you may remember that Jimmy J. Lee was an Ole Miss student who went missing back in 2022, but his remains were never found until February of 2025. We have been following this case now for several years in Oxford. The latest trial happened back in December of 2024 when Harrington Jr. was facing several charges, including capital murder. That trial, however, ended in a hung jury and a mistrial. The retrial was set to begin today, but now with this guilty plea, Harrington Jr. will be sentenced in Oxford tomorrow at 10 a.m.
Hey everybody, and welcome to another episode of DDTS, episode 630. I'm back with another video. Thank y'all for joining me. Happy Monday, happy December the 1st, 2025. Happy new month to each and every one of y'all. Happy new day. Happy new blessings in the beginning, in the middle, and the end. And I'm hoping and praying that blessings comes for everybody along the way. If you have made it to this video, thank you all for joining me, because I promise you, this episode of DDTS will be an episode that you do not want to miss. If you haven't yet, hit that like button, subscribe button, and that notification bell so you will get new videos when they are available. Today's video is going to be such a heartfelt video. Basically, this video is going to be about a topic that, that has been talked about for a great amount of years. Something that happened in 2002. That was very devastating for a family and basically had everyone very sad, very heartbroken, and basically it had people's in a frenzy. It even had me in a frenzy. This happened in Mississippi. And what I'm talking about and the topic that we are going to be talking about today, like I said, I even did a video back in February on this topic. And today we're going to be talking about the case of and the unaliving and the passing of Jimmy J. Lee, who remains was found in February of this year of 2025. For those of you that don't know, that has not found out about this, Jimmy J. Lee was unalived by his allegedly, quote unquote, I'm going to say his DL lover or his acquaintance, or however you want to call it. He was unalived by his quote unquote alleged lover, Timothy Harrington, who pleaded guilty to second-degree murder back in February of 2025, but it is alleged today that he pleaded guilty to the whole scenario. Hold on 1 second, y'all. I don't know why this thing wanna X up. So basically, we're gonna be talking about the updated case of Jimmy J. Lee and the unaliving of Jimmy J. Lee and Sheldon Timothy Harrington, the person that unalived Jimmy J. Lee allegedly in 2022. I'm going to read this article and I'm going to elaborate on this. And when I do my elaboration, y'all know how I get down. If you have been watching my content, if you've been watching my videos, you know exactly how I am when I do my elaboration with these type of topics. Now, again, today, December the 1st, 2025, Jimmy J. Lee, aka murderer, killer, pleaded guilty to second-degree murder. And this is some of the greatest news that I've received in a very long time, that I've heard in a very long time, because I'm not one to give up on what I believe is right. And I'm so happy that the family of Jimmy J. Lee can finally get justice for losing their child to a person who is the devil, for a person who, in my opinion, and for what I've saw in the article and from the comments that I saw, it is alleged, and it has some truth to it, that he also, Sheldon, what's his name? My goodness, I just missed it. Timothy Harrington, basically, he tampered with evidence knowing that he had unalived Jimmy J. Lee. And I'm going to say this. Now, it says this. Harrington, he also was accused of unaliving Lee to hide an alleged romantic relationship in 2022. He went to trial in 2024, but a jury was unable to reach a verdict. A mistrial was declared. So basically, allegedly, he was accused of unaliving Jimmy J. Lee in 2022 to hide an affair, or that the fact that they was sleeping together. Now, let me just go ahead and put this out there. Now, the only two peoples and the only peoples that would do that is quote unquote DL men and quote unquote men that is insecure of their sexuality, and they are scared that they're going to be judged by their other family members because of who they're sleeping with. Better yet, it goes against their religions, quote unquote. Better yet, that's the side of them or themselves that they can't stand to function with. Well, this the thing. If you is so insecure of your sexuality, and if you knew for a fact that you want to keep this on the down low or DL, pretty much you did not have to do this to this wonderful human being. You did not have to unalive Jimmy J. Lee. You could have just let him be. You could have just let Jimmy J. Lee be, let him live, and let this wonderful human being go live their life, pretty much the victim's life. 1 second, y'all. I'm back, y'all. I'm sorry for that interruption. That was the garbage truck. Today is Monday. It's garbage truck day. I'm back, y'all. So back to it. So I really feel like he was either on the DL and he didn't want nobody to know. Well, this the thing. If Timothy Harrington did not want nobody to know, then pretty much he shouldn't have never did what he did. If he knew he was not comfortable with that, then why put himself in a situation and why put Jimmy J. Lee's life at line? Why do that? Because basically, all this time, Timothy Harrington, he was walking around free as a bird. He was walking around free. He was walking around from allegedly what I saw in the comments, which I will possibly put up, allegedly. He was going to club to club to club, living his best life, partying like it's 1999, like he ain't did nothing. And the whole time for that 3 years, while Jimmy J. Lee's family is going through this heartbreaking turn of events, and they are still grieving their child, they're still grieving their family member, they're still grieving a person who was full of life, they're still grieving a wonderful, loving, beautiful human being who was full of life, knowing that Timothy Harrington had unalived him. And this the thing that gets me. From the other comments that I saw, it is also alleged that he also, where the body was found, or better yet, allegedly where the murder happened, his grandfather, Timothy Harrington, stayed down the road. So in February of 2025, Jimmy J. Lee's remains was found on a dirt road. I even did a video back on that in February when it was came out about the whole scenario. Jimmy J. Lee's remains was found in February 25. And you would think that justice would be served in, but no. So now we have to wait. And now we finally got, the family of Jimmy J. Lee finally got the justice that they have been wanting. The justice that they have been deserving of since the time that Jimmy J. Lee was unalived by this devil. And I'm going to go ahead and tell you this. I've already read the article. But if it's okay with y'all, I will read it again for y'all and we can elaborate on it some more. But before I get into this article reading, I just want to state this. Timothy Harrington knew all this time that he had unalived Jimmy J. Lee. Walking around free as a bird, walking around like he ain't did nothing. And what made him look guilty and what makes Timothy Harrington looks guilty is the fact that he's tampered with the evidence. He tampered with the evidence. That what made him look guilty. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. Forgive me for what I'm about to say, but it's the truth and y'all know it. If you know, you know. God got tired of the devil walking around here like that. God stood up and said, you know what, devil? We're going to put an end to this shenanigans. Your freedom is over. It's time for you to be put down, devil. Timothy Harrington was the devil. And God got tired of that. So you know what? God said, this other family that has been suffering for 3 years and more, it's time for them to get the justice that they deserve. It's time for them to get the answers that they need. It's time for them to be able to rest, to know what happened to their baby, what happened to their family member, what happened to their loved one. And that's just my opinion. If you like it, you don't, that's totally fine. Give me 1 second, y'all. I'm back, y'all. I just received some amazing news. One of my greatest friends in this whole world just reached a new achievement. Congratulations to one of my greatest friends in the world from the SIP. Congratulations on your wonderful achievement. Y'all, if y'all haven't, please be sure to follow one of my greatest friends in this world of nation and one of my greatest supporters and cheerleaders from the SIPs. I will be happy. I will be putting his channel up on the screen as you see right here. Congratulations. And I also will be stating his new achievement. And he is well deserving because he's truly one of the best. And I just wanted to put this out there before I forget. But when I go back and do my editing, I will also put it in the beginning of my video. So congratulations to my greatest friend, one of my greatest friends, in your new achievement from the SIP. You truly deserve this and so much more. So y'all, if y'all want to do something for me, go follow From the SIP. Go follow his channel and please check out some of his content. You do not want to miss it. He gives you some of the greatest breakdowns. And if you are a music lover, he will give you so much breakdown on the music genres and the music that will definitely keep you moving and the music that definitely speaks to you and speaks for himself. So please go follow my best friend from the SIP if you haven't. Congratulations once again. I'm so happy for you. Just know you have wonderful supporters behind you. And just know that we all going to be behind you. And we're going to get through this together. We all are a team when it comes to creating content and trying to win. So let's get the end of 2025 and 2026 with new funerals and new beginnings and everything. So yes, indeed. So let's go back to this video. I wanted to go ahead and put that out there. So yes, congratulations, friend. So let's go ahead and get back to this topic. And like I said, I will be doing another article read, which I'm going to do at this very moment. So let's go ahead and get into this article, because once I get into this article, I can elaborate a little bit more. So here we go. The man that accused of killing University of Mississippi student Jimmy J. Lee entered a plea on December 1st, 2025. Sheldon Timothy Harrington pleaded guilty to second-degree murder, tampering in connection to Lee's death in 2022. Harrington is scheduled to be sentenced at 10 o'clock a.m. on December 2nd, 2025 in Oxford, Mississippi. Jury section is underway for a man accused of killing University of Mississippi student Jimmy J. Lee. The jury section began at the Madison County Circuit Court on December 1st, 2025. Timothy Harrington is set for a trial again in Lafayette County, with jurors to be drawn from the Madison County. Harrington was previously granted a charge of the venue motion. Harrington and his attorney wanted a charge of venue due to extensive news coverage and social media posts about the case. He argued that would not receive a fair trial. Harrington has been charged with capital murder in the case and has not plead guilty not guilty. The state said in court they will not be seeking the death penalty. Harrington was accused of killing Lee to hide an alleged romantic relationship back in 2022. He went to trial in December of 24, but a jury was unable to reach a verdict and a mistrial was declared. Lee's remains weren't found for nearly 3 years until February 2025. The Mississippi Crime Lab confirmed through the DNA analysis that remains belong to Lee. The medical examiner cannot determine a cause of manner of death for Lee. The cause of death cannot be determined in part of the one second, y'all. Cannot be determined because of the decomposition of Lee's body, said Carroll County Coroner Mark Steels, who responded to the scene. The remains were skeletal with no soft tissue. Okay, and that's the article that I've read to y'all. I will be sure to put this article up here. You can find this article. I'll be sure to put up where you can find this article. Better yet, I will put this article in my description box so you all can read it for yourselves. And now let's go ahead and do this elaboration once again. I hope I'm not wasting y'all time with this. I just want to make sure I get all my information, all my facts straight. Okay, so as we know that Sheldon Timothy Harrington, he entered a plea deal. He entered a guilty plea on December the 1st, 2025, correct? And he pleaded guilty to second-degree murder and from tampering with evidence. Let me tell you, when you tamper with evidence in a murder case, that means you don't want nobody to find out what you did, or you know for a fact that you guilty and you know you did it. And you tried to throw everybody off when you did that. And that, my person, and then that, in reality, that's not cool at all. Now, I will say this. For 3 years, Jimmy J. Lee's family has been wondering what happened to that child. What happened? What could have caused this? What could have caused this? Who done this? Who done this? Honestly, come on now. As a person, myself, as a person that have watched a lot of crime shows, that still watch a lot of crime shows today, Law and Order SVU, Forensic Files, The First 48. I've watched so many crime shows in all my 30 years of life. When you have watched these shows so many years of life, and this stuff hits home in some reality, you can basically figure this stuff out yourself. Everybody knows that if someone has unalived you or unalived somebody, they gonna try to do it in their best interest to make sure that they is not caught, that does not come back to them. But in reality, you can try to hide all that evidence all you want to. But it's so many good peoples out here that is good with detecting and doing investigations. What the wrong that you done in that scenario, when it comes to that type of stuff, it will come back on you. Like what I said, if he was not guilty and if he didn't do it, why on earth did Timothy Harrington tamper with the evidence? Only a dummy and only a fool would do that type of mess if they didn't even do the unaliving. So he thought that if he would have tampered with that evidence, he would throw the peoples off, the investigators off, the family of Jimmy J. Lee, who has basically suffered enough pain, hurt, and so much heartbreak enough as it is. They finally got the justice, and allegedly, again, Timothy Harrington is scheduled, ladies and gentlemen, to be sentenced tomorrow at 10 o'clock a.m. I'm just so happy that he was stopped in his tracks because, Again, he was running around here free like he ain't did anything, running around here free like he ain't unalive someone, like he didn't take away a person that meant a lot to a lot of peoples. Not only that, this was in Mississippi. Not only that, Jimmy J. Lee was part of the black community, and he was part of our LGBTQIA community. And this the thing. Timothy Harrington had to be on DDL for him to allegedly do what he did, because this the thing. He didn't want the secret to get out. And basically, his insecurity set in. The thing is, he was basically so freaking scared, allegedly. He didn't want his secret to get out of the fact that he was sleeping around with Jimmy J. Lee, or better yet, allegedly having a relationship with him. He thought that ending Jimmy J. Lee's life would be the answer. It doesn't matter how many people you try to harm with trying to keep that secret a secret. That secret was going to come out regardless of the fact whether you unalive Jimmy J. Lee or not. That secret was going to come out, because what's done in the dark is sure for a fact is going to come to the light. I don't understand why some of these dudes that think that they have to hurt peoples that's in a corner to try to keep something on the low. He didn't have to unalive Jimmy J. Lee. He did not have to do that. He didn't have to do that. And that's the thing. I believe Timothy Harrington, his family had church background in them. I think his family was part of the church. And so allegedly, if his family was part of the church, you know how the black community is when it comes to the church. And you know how the black community is when it comes to homosexuality. They do not condone homosexuality as they claim, but neither do they know the black community that don't condone homosexuality. They be having homosexual tendencies, and they have been for years and years and years, decades and decades, since the 1930s, 40s, 50s, and up and up. Especially these pastors, especially these deacons, and especially some of these women that is the big peoples of the church. Now, let's put that out there. Now, it's a reason that Timothy Harrington did this. Now, it said allegedly. Now, I believe allegedly. I'm not for sure. I can't remember. But Timothy Harrington, his family was part of the church. And it said allegedly the murder happened down the road from Timothy Harrington's grandfather's house. So basically, his family basically knew the whole time that he had unalived Jimmy J. Lee. And the family basically, in my opinion, was covering for him. And even if that's the truth, that ain't of God. That's the devil. How in the world you supposed to be a part of a church community and you got peoples doing it that you know what they were doing and you didn't even come forward? That is not of God. That is the devil's work. You, like, for real, you got one family walking around here like they ain't did nothing, and you got this other family of Jimmy J. Lee that's still out here suffering for 3 years wanting to know what happened to their child. And it ain't right. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. It's peoples like Timothy Harrington that put DL black men at a bad number and rate. Peoples want to celebrate these types of men that's on the DL. They want to give them a benefit of a doubt, but no. When they come to unaliving a person, that was part of the LGBTQIA community. A lot of people don't realize when a DL guy does that to a person of our LGBTQIA community, these DLs do not realize they are unaliving a part of themselves that they are trying to hide, that they don't want nobody to find out, that they are attracted to the same sex. And I'm not trying to do a sermon. I'm not trying to be extra, but I'm just speaking the truth. Jimmy J. Lee did not deserve to have his life taken away from him. All he wanted to do was live life. Whether they slept together or they didn't, whether they was dating behind closed doors, either they was not. Jimmy J. Lee's life did not deserve to be taken away from him. It's not right. I will go on to the comments in a little bit. But I also want to backtrack a little bit, okay? I also want to backtrack a little bit, if that's okay with y'all. I want to backtrack a little bit. I also want to backtrack, and I also will have like a little video detailing about the whole scenario with what they have. It's heartbreaking because we do not know who to trust. This should tell people's, okay, honestly, I'm going to go ahead and put this out there before I go to the comments, okay? This should basically tell people's in our Black community and in our LGBTQIA community, or which community that, you may serve. We must be careful of who we hang out with, who we associate ourselves with, who we get into a romantic relationship with. Because let's be honest, the highest rate, in my opinion, the highest rate of peoples to get unalived in this scenario is Black peoples and Black peoples of the LGBTQIA community. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sitting outside and my words can get twisted up. Trans women and trans women, people of color, gay men, Black gay men, are really targeted in our community the most. But trans women, Black trans women, and trans women of color, Black men that are gay, and men of color are basically targeted a lot, especially trans Black women and trans women of color are always targeted. And if you are a Black man in the LGBTQIA community and you are feminine and you messing with a DL guy, pretty much it's not a safe environment, because as a person that used to be on DDL, but I was not on DDL to the point where I didn't want to harm somebody. I wouldn't even dare do that. But at a point, I had to come out and say, "Hey, I'm a part of the community. I'm still learning things, but I'm saying, it's people's like Timothy Harrington give black men that are DL and any men that are DL in general and men of color that are DL a bad name, because not only when you unalive someone and you know you on the DL, when you are on the DL and you unalive somebody in the LGBTQIA community, not only are you unaliving part of yourself, you basically hate yourself and you basically spreading a hate crime because of what you did. And honestly, I'm going to put this out there because it's the truth. For a fact here and there, that's why it's so much tension. That's why it's so hard. That's why it's so hard in our communities, because peoples don't want to be honest with themselves. That's why a lot of peoples that are struggling with coming out to their families, they are struggling to coming out to face the fact that, you know, you could be bi, you can be gay, you can be pansexual and everything. That's why a lot of peoples in the black community and peoples of color, or which community that you serve, that's why a lot of peoples struggle with coming out, because they are afraid of what a person gonna say, that they're gonna get judged, that they're gonna go to that Bible and say, oh, no, you going to hell, this and that and the third. Listen, I'm not saying that that's the case with Timothy Harrington. What he did was undespicable, and what he did was devil. His whole family is the devil, and they knew the whole time that he did that. But like what I said, God said, hey, you've been walking around for 3 years, but guess what, devil? I got you now, and we finna put an end to your devilness. We're gonna put an end to your Satan ways and your Satan actions that you did. You caused another family so much pain. Guess what? December the 1st, 2025 is the end of your reign of making a family suffer for 3 years. From 2022 to 2025, it took 3 years for Jimmy J. Lee's family to get justice, and I'm so happy that they got justice. I'm so happy. And I can't wait to hear what the sentence is going to be. It is not right at all for a family to go through this. And my heart and prayers goes out to Jimmy J. Lee and his family. And I'm hoping that I'm putting out everything that there is to put out. And I'm going to go ahead and say this. And I'm going to put these comments up. And I'm going to talk about these comments as well. So, yeah. I've been following this story for a great amount of time. I first followed this story back in February of 2025. And if you have not watched that video, I recommend you go do so. Go back and watch my video that I posted of Jimmy J. Lee back in February. I will even put that in my description, and you can click on that and watch it. But now let's go ahead to these comments. Give me 1 second. This is so unprofessional of me. I should have had all this stuff done. Okay, 1 second, y'all. 1 second. Okay, y'all, I'm back. So now let's go to some of these comments that I have stumbled upon, and some was actually I discovered, and some was sent to me. I will not be putting nobody out there, but these are some of the comments that I've saw and that I received. Someone says, "You right, he knew he did it," and somebody replied, And folks that didn't believe it, something wrong with them. I believed it the whole time. Like, you is not going to sit there and tell me that I didn't know he didn't unalive. I knew he did it because he was the last person that was with Jimmy J. Lee, allegedly. So who else going to do it? Who else going to do it? Whoever was the last person with that person, you ain't going to tell me that they going to have an alibi. Lies, lies, and more lies. And somebody said this, so glad the family got the justice they deserved. And someone replied, exactly, I knew it from the beginning. It was enough evidence for me. Now I want to know how he unalived him, though. That's what I want to know. That is the bigger question. How was he unalived? Now, I will be putting more comments up if I can, but let's just pause. It could have been plenty of ways that he could have been unalived. He could have basically strangled him. He could have basically shot him, or he could have done anything. Anything is possible. And what happens? Could have basically disposed of some of the parts and could have scattered them out. You never know with peoples these days. It's so many questions that needs to be answered. I'm happy for the justice that the family have, but I just want to know, how did he unalive Jimmy J. Lee? That is the bigger question. And I'm really hoping that is soon to come as well. Now, here go another one that I want to put up here. It says, I'm so mad right now. I knew he was guilty. The moment I saw the mugshot on July the 22nd, 2022, he drug this S out for these 3 years. Him and his family are wrong and selfish as F. The Harringtons are wrong as F. They did this S and try to gaslight everybody into believing that they were too holy to be involved. Everybody go to HELLW hockey sticks. And it says, and was a different bar every other night partying like he didn't take someone's life. Exactly as I said earlier, that Harrington family is quote unquote involved with the church. How in the world is you involved with the church and you got a family member out here doing the devil's work, that's out here being Satan, taking people's lives? And if y'all was so of God, why in the world would y'all hold on to this most harmful stuff knowing that you had a family member doing it? Like, basically, that whole family knew this whole time that Timothy Harrington took Jimmy J's life all those 3 years, and they did not a thing to help that family that lost their child and family member. Not once did they come forward. Not once did they give them clues. Not once did they try to help them find out what happened to them. Because you know why? That whole family is just as guilty as Timothy Harrington. And I don't care who get mad, and I don't care who don't agree. That whole family is just as guilty as Timothy Harrington. And if they knew about it and whoever else knew about it, they need to go down too. And I don't care how you take it and say it, because that's wrong. How you gonna be a part of a church, of a community, claiming that you serving God and the Lord, and y'all got family members out here that's out here taking people's lives? For 3 years, Jimmy J. Lee's family had to suffer enough because they did not know what happened to their child. And the whole time the family knew that Timothy Harrington have done it. How can some people be so self-centered and be so evil to try to protect their own family while they know another family is out here suffering? And that's the thing that gets me. They are both black in the community. Both of the families are black in the community. And the way some people say, we need to come together, we need to stick together, we need to help each other out. Well, guess what? That is true. That is true. But that does not mean, yeah, I'm black, so I should go and hurt somebody else of one family, a black family, and the other person, we're gonna be free. They ain't gonna get us wrong, and more wrong. It's painful as enough as it is. My heart, my prayers continues to goes out to Jimmy J's Lee's family, and I'm so happy that they got justice. So happy that they got justice. Again, tomorrow, December the 2nd, 2025, Timothy Harrington will be sentenced at 10 o'clock. And I'm hoping that they give him the longest sentence that they possibly can. And you know what? The way he did Jimmy J. Lee, I promise you, and I can say this, they say karma is a you know what. You never know when karma gonna hit you, but when it hits you, it's gonna hit you. And I'm just gonna put it in that way. Prayers for the family of Jimmy J. Lee, and I'm so happy that they got the justice that they deserve. So that will be the end of this video. Let me know what you guys think. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think. How did I do on this video? If you like this video, please hit that like button, subscribe button, and the notification bell so you will get more videos like this. And I really want to say I love y'all. And I will talk to y'all on the next video. Love y'all and thank you. Bye-bye.